wonderful. So, thank you so much for being so much on. This is great. It's my privilege to be able to introduce somebody who's been working with Congressman Adolphus Towns, who is a social worker, and somebody that my entire career since the early 1980s have had the privilege of being able to work with. And there's been some very significant developments on Capitol Hill in regard to social work. Carmen Ortiz Hendricks touched on that a little bit when she was giving her PowerPoint. And at this point, I want to introduce to you a social worker, Charles Lewis Jr., an MSW and a PhD, who's the Deputy Chief of Staff and Communications Director for Congressman Adolphus Towns, who represents the 10th District in Brooklyn. Dr. Lewis is also an adjunct professor at the University of Maryland, Baltimore School of Social Work, and he completed his bachelor's degree in psychology at the College of New Rochelle, very close by, his MSW degree in clinical counseling at Clark Atlanta University, which I understand is now called the Whitney M. Young Junior School of Social Work, specializing in social policy analysis at Columbia, got his PhD at Columbia University, specializing in social policy. So Dr. Lewis, thank you so much for being here, and we'll move to the panel in a few minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am pleased to bring greetings on behalf of Congressman Adolphus Towns. He regrets he's unable to be here with you today for this very important conference. However, he is aware of the many challenges facing Latino communities, and he pledges to work with you on issues of critical concern. Congressman Towns is a proud social worker. How many proud social workers do we have in the building? All right. To him, his social work identity defines him more than his title and role as congressman. By that I mean that Ed Towns sees his job as a congressman as the primary means by which he promotes the values and vision of the social work profession. I could not have found a more ideal person to work for on the Hill. Now, I've been on the Hill for a little more than a year, and it's taken some getting used to after being in the academic world. I taught at Howard University School of Social Work for about 8 years, and then I went to work with Congressman Towns, who I had known for a long time. And teaching social policy is one thing. Doing social policy is a whole other thing. But I'm excited about the opportunity to engage in the democratic process in the House of Representatives. Needless to say, there are many critical issues facing Americans today, and the Latino community specifically. So it's imperative that we social workers have an impact on not just the programs, but the policies that will shape the future. To that end, I am working with Congressman Towns to build a strong and effective Congressional Social Work Caucus. Led by Mr. Towns, the caucus was initiated last year by 5 members of the House who are professional social workers. Those are Representatives Susan Davis, Barbara Lee, Allison Schwartz, Nikki Songus, and of course Mr. Towns. So we started with 5, and since then we've added an additional 55 members of Congress who have joined the Congressional Social Work Caucus. Now, the purpose of the Congressional Social Work Caucus is to provide a platform in Congress whereby social workers will have the opportunity to inject our issues and ideas into the national conversation. And I said, we have something to say, right, social workers? All right? So now we have a place to say it, let's see what we do with it. So the caucus will facilitate opportunities to conduct briefings and other events on the Hill. We now have a website, so I encourage you all to go to our website and sign on to our listserv so that you can keep abreast of the activities of the caucus. But not just follow the activities of the caucus, we need you to be proactive participants. We need your ideas and your input. Congressman Towns sees the Social Work Caucus as a means to increase the presence of social workers on the Hill. He often laments about the huge number of lawyers on Capitol in Congress and on the Hill, but he is adamant that he wants to see more social workers get involved in the political process. One way he sees of accomplishing this is by using the caucus to create opportunities for social workers to intern in congressional office. We have 2 social workers interning in our office, and we're encouraging our members, particularly members of the caucus, to have social work interns in their offices. That could be in the Washington office, or it could be in district offices. So we need Mr. Nadler to open up his office to a social work intern. As the largest non-white segment of the American population, the impact of Latinos will continue to grow. And more Latino social workers will be needed to service a growing population and to ensure that Latino children and youth will have brighter futures. Protecting and expanding investments in children is a top priority for Congressman Towns. He feels strongly about our responsibility to future generations and often says, children are a quarter of the population, or 100% of the future. Children are often forgotten because they don't vote and they don't have deep pocket lobbyists on the Hill advocating for their interests. But now that we have a social work caucus, we can have social workers on the Hill lobbying for their interests. Children who are fortunate to be born into caring families and healthy communities have a much better chance to succeed than those who are not. Those who are not depend on us to see to it that society does not neglect their interests. Congressman Towns wants you to know that he will be counting on all of you as he moves forward with the Congressional Social Work Caucus. He also wants you to know that you can count on him. Thank you.